to the Super Speedway.
Welcome to episode 348 of the Super Speedway podcast, recorded Monday, February 10th, 2025. I'm your host, Eric Young, and I am joined, as always, by my co-host, James Cush. Fresh off a Super Bowl Sunday, James, how's it going this week?
Oh, I'm refreshed and ready. I got a good night's sleep.
Went to bed nice and early last night, did you?
The worst Super Bowl of recent memory. I can't think of another one that was worse.
It was pretty brutal. I mean, it was bad. I only watched because I was waiting for Kansas City to come back, and it just never happened.
They just didn't have it. No, they didn't have it. They didn't have it from the drop of the coin at the beginning of the game. It was kind of toast from there. So
I swore I was not watching a second of the Super Bowl this year because I didn't care about the halftime show, didn't care about the two teams. So I'm like, okay, well, I was editing photos before or when the game was starting. So I'm like, well, I'll put it on the screen next to me and I'll just have it on. And so then it's going. And then by the time I got done editing photos, I think there were like 3 minutes left in the half. And I'm like, well, I guess I might as well stick around and watch the halftime show just in case something happens that everybody's going to be talking about tomorrow. And so I watched the halftime show and then I shut it off. And then I went to bed. And when I went to bed, I turned it on just to check in where it was. And there were like 2 minutes left to go in the third quarter. And I'm like, well, crap, I'll watch it now and see what happens. And so I watched the whole damn thing.
Yeah, pretty
all
much.
but one
You
quarter.
didn't miss anything. You could have turned it off at halftime and not missed pretty much anything.
Pretty much. I saw as much of the game as Patrick Mahomes did.
Well, and you probably watched it the same way. It was
right.
Well, you're laying in bed flat on your back.
Yeah, I was laying
like
on my back, so that's pretty similar. Wow.
Oh man, the only thing that came out of it was the meme of I think what is it, Robert Redford, where he's looking into the camera, he just gives you the head nod.
Uh-huh.
And now that Tom Brady's officially untouchable as the GOAT, I just kind of gave the Eagles a head nod afterwards. I'm like, good, yep, I'll do.
Yeah,
I'll do.
I will say that speaking of Tom, he was probably one of the bright spots. I thought he was fun to listen to on the broadcast.
He came. It's been a rough year in the booth, but he came prepared.
What I liked about him was that, he's Tom freaking Brady. Like, he could come in there and just be like, I'm the baddest guy ever to play this game. I'm awesome. Nobody can touch me. But he's like picking on himself and making fun of the roast and picking on the fact that, talking about the fact of the Super Bowls that he lost. And it's like, yeah, that's cool to see. Like, I never cared for him that much when he was playing because I hate, as much as I love seeing people dominate, I hate it too. But I've grown to like him.
He has seen and done everything in that game. He's played 10 of. The only thing that he hasn't done is get absolutely blown out, because every time he's lost, it's been like by the skin of his teeth.
That's true.
But other than that, he has done everything. I mean, there's only been 59 Super Bowls, and that dude played in 10 of them. So it's just ridiculous.
Absolutely
just ridiculous.
insane.
But
I
was hoping for a decent game, but yeah, I mean, there's not much to say. It was just a butt kicking by the Eagles. I mean, they're really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it makes me more pissed off that we couldn't get there because dang it.
If the Lions going to come back healthy.
I'm not going to shoulda, woulda, couldas, man. I'm not good at that.
Yeah.
But that's okay.
You know what's the best thing about the Super Bowl, though, James?
Oh, sun. You know what that means.
As soon as it's over, it's time to talk about NASCAR.
Oh, racing season is upon us, Eric.
It's
here now.
It's Speed Weeks with an asterisk because it's really only Speed Week.
Speed work week.
Speed 3 or 4 days. What is it? Well, it's Wednesday through Sunday now. Maybe Monday, depending on the year.
Yeah, there's a reason it's probably going to get rain delayed. I won't get into it.
The same reason it got rain delayed when last time this person visited.
Every time this person shows up, we have to finish on Monday.
Anyway, I'm sure it won't be a spectacle though when he's there. He never.
It wasn't
never
Just like yesterday, it wasn't a spectacle at all.
Never a spectacle. Anyway, Daytona 500 coming up this week. This is our annual preseason prediction episode. So we're gonna go down a list of stuff that we think is going to happen and see how many things we get wrong as the season goes along.
And we'll laugh.
Yeah.
And it'll get funnier as the season goes along, and then we'll get to the playoffs and we'll laugh some more. Cause boy, I can't believe I said that, and that kind of thing. So
yeah, don't expect to learn anything from these predictions because we're terrible at it. So But with that, before we get to it, let's talk some news. There's not a whole lot because it's Daytona 500 week and everybody's concentrating on getting to the track. But we had some Hall of Fame induction ceremonies, James, and any excuse to talk about Carl Edwards and Ricky Rudd, but definitely Carl Edwards. I'll take that opportunity. So how'd you feel about seeing Carl and Ricky get inducted and get their jackets?
Yeah, it was very cool. Carl, I thought Carl was kind of all over the place, but very like reserved at the same time. I thought his speech was phenomenal.
The stuff he said about Coach Gibbs was pretty awesome.
Yeah, it'll almost bring a tear to your eye.
Yeah.
Knowing everything that Coach Gibbs has kind of been through here recently, but over the last few years. But man, and Ricky Rudd, somebody when he was driving, for some reason he drove me crazy, but he was so resilient for so long. I mean, it's an awesome class.
Anybody who's watched the sport long enough has seen the picture of him with his eyes taped open after the Busch Clash wreck.
Yep. One of the toughest dudes you ever seen.
Definitely one of the toughest guys ever to race in the sport. That was, we make the joke about, back when men were men. And that was a different breed back then. You can call them men, you can call them stupid, whatever you want to call them. He was definitely of that mold. And for good or for bad, we don't have that anymore. I don't say it's a bad thing necessarily, as some people might, but definitely very deserving of both those guys. Like I said, I'll listen to Carl talk any day. What'd you think of the comments this week about with him and Larson wanting him to race or practice his car at the All-Star race?
He just doesn't seem like he's gonna ever do it.
I don't know, man. He seemed more receptive than ever at that, though.
He said he's got to get in the sim.
Yeah,
but he's too afraid to wreck the car. I'm like, I don't think Kyle cares if you wreck the car.
No, I mean,
Yeah,
I'd love to see him do it, man. It'd be so good. Come on.
Yeah, I know Harvick did it, and that was one thing, but yeah, it'd be cool to see him. I'd love to see him get in that car.
I mean, the only thing I will say is if Carl gets in that car, he's got to listen to the question instead of "Are you ever going to get back in the car?" Then he's going to have to be asked if he's going to start or if he's going to come back and all this crap, and he doesn't want to deal with any of that. So, which is why he's stayed away.
There's one
to a certain
other
extent.
There's one other guy I wish that Larson would reach out to.
Yeah.
You know who it is, but
the guy who brought that track back.
Well, him. He's
okay.
on that list. He's on that list. I'd put him on that list.
Yeah.
He won't do it. He won't do it either, though.
No, I know.
The other guy, the bigger gentleman who goes in straight lines now.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah, that guy. I'd love to see that guy do it too. But
yeah, there might be a problem with the seat though. Can they change the seat from practice to? I mean, Tony's a little bigger than Larson.
Tony couldn't fit. Kyle could probably fit, although Kyle's awful tall compared to Kyle Larson. Kyle Larson, I mean, I think people realize that he's pretty short, but he's a tiny dude compared to
not a big
most.
dude at all.
Yeah, Carl actually has some height to him, so that might be a bit of a challenge.
I'm trying to think, I don't know that have I ever seen Carl in person?
I was not too far from him when I went to the 2013 Daytona 500. I got pretty close to Carl, and he was probably the tallest guy that I can recall of note. But I have to look through my pictures. And see.
I would have to have been because I know I shot driver intros when Junior was still racing, so I know that Carl was still racing at that point.
Yeah, I'm sure you were around him from time to time.
But it was in the days before the bullpen where you could sit there and talk to every driver and stuff. So it certainly was. You weren't close to him unless you tried.
None of these guys are big people, by the way.
No. It's pretty interesting actually to see. But yeah, so very cool. Cool to see Carl get recognized. Cool to see Ricky Rudd get recognized.
Ralph Moody was the other.
Yeah.
Yep.
So good stuff. Good stuff. I always like the Hall of Fame. Kind of sneaks up on me every year here with me.
Yeah, I'm not sure where they put it in the schedule does it justice now. I don't know. It seems disjointed, but
it's just there's the 2 weeks between the Clash and Daytona just are nothing weeks now. The way that they got it.
Super Bowl takes up so much air.
Yeah.
And it's so hard to, fit in anything else.
Can't wait till they add that 18th week.
Oh my God, I hope not. Nobody wants it. Come on, guys, let's not do that.
Nobody wants it.
Please no. And they'll have to move the 500 because
Yeah.
NASCAR is scared of is scared of football. So
Yeah, unless they wait 7 years to do it and Fox no longer has Daytona 500, they'll be moving it because
right. Yeah.
Fox can barely put on a production in one place, let alone two. Well, I guess that Fox doesn't do the Super Bowl every year though, do they? They alternate, don't
No,
they?
they rotate. CBS gets it. I think ESPN actually got one coming up too.
Interesting.
So, yeah.
All right. Well, what do you think? You want to get into these preseason predictions, James?
Let's do it. Yeah.
Again, our record is terrible at these. I did add, so these are all the same as previous years. I added one question, which is really just an extension of another question. And then I also swapped these so that if you answered first last year, James, I'm answering first this year.
Oh, okay.
Except for the one big gamble because I moved it, and where I moved, I left it the same as last year. So, which sucks that I'm picking first in that one because I really have struggled with that one. That's the one that I've struggled with a ton this year. So we'll start out. Team to watch for 2025. And you know, I think in the past this used to be team to watch, and it was kind of like, you know, somebody who's going to do well, somebody who's going to do bad, whatever. Now it's kind of more along the lines of, James, just like who you expect to be. Who do you expect to surprise you like positively this season?
Yeah, who's coming up that's gonna make the playoffs and win some races. That's kind of the way I've always thought of it, as like they might not win the championship, but dang, where did so and so come from?
Right.
That's you know who I guess our best example of this one was Trackhouse Racing.
Yeah.
When they first got going, it's like, holy crap.
Yep.
You know, Ross Chastain's out there, you know, competing for wins, and you know they're actually doing something here. So
right.
That's kind of I kind of like the idea of examples, because that was a good one that really snuck up.
So before I give mine, I want to ask, did you go through these ahead of time and do these?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
So did I.
No,
I spent a bunch of time today doing them. So I just was kind of curious if which strategy you took.
I'm still like on the fence of a couple
same
of
here.
them. So
same here.
Yeah.
All right. So my team to watch. First of all, this is tough because really I'm down between two teams, and one of them I picked last year. And I don't know if they quite fall into this category because they've already been on the upswing, but I'm going to go with my original choice. And I'm going to go with RFK as a team to watch this season. I think they continue to see improvement. We got to see Brad get to victory lane last year. Obviously, Chris Buescher has done his stuff. You've got the addition of Ryan Preece. I don't know if that's going to help or hurt this year. I don't know that I really expect huge things out of him, but I expect the other two to really continue to crank it up and move their way up the order and be bigger contenders this season. So RFK is my choice.
When I think of RFK, I think of them as, okay, what's the next step? And they've won races, they've made the playoffs. Now we got to start inching towards the championship.
Right. Be a threat in the playoffs now.
Yeah, they've got to be like, you've got to get into that round of 8 for me.
Yeah.
And I do think that they've got the established, like they have not. That's the thing about them. They have not slid backwards. They've only progressed forward.
That's true.
So that's kind of why I like that pick too.
All right, who you got? Team to watch.
Well, I'm glad you didn't take mine.
Okay.
Because this is a team that I'm really high on coming into the season, and that's going to be Spire Motorsports.
Yeah, that was my pick last year, so I'm glad I didn't go with that one.
Yeah, but I think maybe on a step down from where you picked RFK, but Spire Motorsports finding a way to get into the playoffs and winning some races, I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility.
Oh, I don't think so either.
You think about their roster, like they've got Justin Haley, they've got Carson Hocevar, and now you brought in also Michael McDowell, who has experience winning races and has, I think he's got a better resume than people give him some credit for. But I think the other addition that's going to help all the teams, especially the 7 car, is Rodney Childers.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And Rodney Childers with a talent like Justin Haley, and I'm hoping that he's got better resources this year than he's had in the last year with Stuart Haas. So I just think all the right pieces have come together at Spire Motorsports. Plus, they're ready to win. They've said that.
Yeah.
They're not going to be skimping on the budget or anything like that.
Well, that's the thing is they've got the money to back it. Like, you look at RFK and you could look at them and go, I know they've got big financing with Fenway and all that stuff, but they don't seem to me as a team that's just going to throw money at a problem, but
Yeah.
Spire does.
Yeah.
Like Spire has that aspect of we'll just buy everybody that's good and eventually succeed because of it. And not that they're doing it the wrong way, because they aren't. They've still built a program that's continued to improve and impress. And I think they're going to be a threat this year. Well, a threat to win races this year. They're not a championship threat this year.
Yeah. But also too, they've been around for, it's not quite a decade, but they've been around a little while, but they've continued to be lean for many years. They're not going to be lean anymore. They're going to look to, get fat. You know what I mean? They're going to try to gobble up some wins and try to lead some laps. I really like the talent that is Justin Haley. And I think you're putting him with Rodney Childers. I'm really high on that. I'm high on everything they've done. Haley and Childers. And then Hocevar showed us something last year, and I don't think Hocevar is gonna be no slouch either. So just they've got pieces that fit, that seem to make sense. So I'm gonna be watching them.
Yeah, that's a good pick. This is the new one. Team to be leery about. Team to be concerned about. Who is and you get first pick on this one, James. Who is your team that we need to watch with caution this year? Yeah,
so I didn't want to pick too low or too high.
Okay.
On this one.
So you're saying you didn't go with Rick Ware Racing?
No, I didn't go with Rick Ware Racing. I have a hard time getting that out. My pick here is, it's going to sound strange, I think, but I'm going to be watching 2311.
Ooh.
And not that I don't think that they're not going to be fast or anything like that. They've got a lot going on in regards to the legal stuff, and they've spent a lot of money. There's a lot of expectations, and Tyler Reddick made the championship 4 last year. But at what point does all of this outside pressure start to eat away a little bit at some of the good mojo that's been going on over there? So I just think I'm not, when you said leery, when you wrote down leery, that's where I'm coming from with leery. I'm like, I don't know. This could be a step back year for 2311.
That's really interesting. I really like that pick. I don't think I agree with you, because I think they're going to use all of that as motivation.
Absolutely could. Yeah.
But
and they're fast as hell, man. Like Tyler Reddick obviously is, I mean, I don't know, put Tyler Reddick in a handful of other names in a basket as best drivers in the sport. He is in that basket.
Yeah, if I was drafting a 4-car team, he would be probably pick number 2.
Yeah, he is.
And that's just because you have to pick Kyle Larson first.
Yeah, I put him with Bell, Larson.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't like to leave Joey Logano out, but like guys who are, consistent threats week in and week out. Yeah.
3-time champion, and we still consider him like,
I know,
an afterthought.
I know. I don't want to leave him out of conversations, but I don't want to say like, but Reddick is definitely, kind of looking at careers side by side. Like him and Byron, I feel like are like, they're like neck and neck with each other.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways. So
that's the thing is like, there's so much, that's a perfect example, because there's a ton of promise with both of them, but there's also the possibility that nothing happens and they just never go anywhere.
Right.
Because it's all we're betting on right now is promise. Like Larson's got the wins, Logano's got the wins,
and he's got a championship.
Yeah. These guys are like, they haven't quite broken it yet. So
yeah, it's competitive as hell at the top, man. When you've got guys like Bell, Reddick, I think Bell, Reddick, and Byron, I think very highly of those 3 guys.
Yeah.
And there's only one championship at the end of the year.
Right.
And we've got guys, like Denny Hamlin, probably a championship driver.
Yeah.
Just never was able to get it done. And one of like these 3 guys, this is going to be a long decade if they're all in top tier equipment that long.
Yeah.
Like these guys are going to be duking it out long after, Larson probably retires even, Joey Logano's going to retire, but those guys are still going to be around for a while.
Yeah.
But
all right, so I'm going to go a little bit further down the order than you did. So I had really 3 teams I was considering here, but I'm going to go with the least low-hanging fruit of the 3, and I'm going to go RCR. And
yeah, they were on my list.
And the biggest thing for me is just Kyle Busch has got to succeed with that team this year, or he's not going to stay. And you lose Kyle Busch at Richard Childress Racing. I mean, I guess you got Austin Hill waiting in the wings, but like, there's some decisions coming at that team with Austin Hill waiting in the wings. You got Austin Dillon, who, you know, you can argue whether he deserves to be there or not. He certainly has come through and at points and shown his talent, and then at other points he's shown that he doesn't fit. So it's tough. I mean, he's obviously not going anywhere. He'll step into an ownership role or a management role there. But how long is he staying there? And like I said, Kyle Busch, man, if he doesn't have success there, there's no way he stays. There's got to be other options out there for him, and unless his stock goes down so much. But see, he can't afford to stay there.
Well, and that's
if he continues to struggle.
Eric, what you've just said there too, I think ties into the same thing that I'm thinking with 2311. There's a pressure that comes with having Kyle Busch, because you have an all-timer on your roster.
Yeah.
And last year you could not get him into victory lane. I know he came very close.
Right.
You know, Atlanta sticks out, but but
less than an inch.
Yeah, but I mean, you've got to put that guy in the position to get you through the playoffs. And I know, like, Richard was on with Dale Jr. last week and was complaining about the Richmond deal and how much money it cost them.
Right.
That's all fine and dandy. You guys didn't get the job done with your number one guy.
Yep.
I understand Austin Dillon had a playoff spot revoked for certain reasons, but you've got Kyle Busch on your roster. Playoff spots should be given.
Yeah.
That should be the bare minimum for your team.
Success for Kyle Busch should be making top 8. Playoffs should not making the playoffs is a major failure.
Yes, and it's not a Kyle Busch failure.
No.
It is and Kyle Busch takes part of it, but that's organizational failure. If you can't put that guy in the position to succeed, you're not doing your job.
Yeah, 100%.
Because he's going to lift a team only so much, especially with as competitive as this field has gotten. There's only so much, you know, one single driver can do. You've got to give him a little bit more to work with.
Right.
No, I love that pick for you. That was good.
All right. Also, obviously the two that I'm also concerned about, Legacy Motor Club obviously needs some improvement. They need to show something with that Toyota affiliation they have. And Colleague especially, like, they need something over there. That team's going to go away.
Colleague, I'm definitely worried about Colleague. Although they've got Allmendinger back in there, I think that's a good call for them. Everything around him is a kind of a mess. But Legacy, I mean, Eric
no
Jones
offense to Ty
racy.
Dillon, but Ty Dillon ain't saving your organization.
Oh no. Eric Jones did look pretty sporty at Bowman Gray, so I saw
there's potential there, but that's what I'm saying is they need to use that potential because they do have a talent in Eric Jones. And say what you want to say about John Hunter. John Hunter's got some pretty good ability too. They need to capitalize on that.
They've restructured the management at Legacy Motor Club, so I'm hopeful that they can do some stuff. I mean, Ben Beshore with Eric Jones, I like that combination.
Yeah.
That's a guy who's gotten the job done a handful of times. But yeah, that's going to be. I still think they're a little ways away from where they want to go. And
it comes down to the same thing we talk about every week, that somebody's got to slip for them to gain.
Yeah, and I think Spire's coming to take their. Yeah.
They're already. Spire's passed them already, and they're not giving any spots up.
Yeah, and also, I mean, front row is probably going to be a little bit. I don't know. We're gonna see.
Front row is gonna be interesting. I'll be very interested to see that.
But they're getting more support from Ford. Yeah. So that's something to keep an eye on. I don't think they've got Noah Gragson now.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna go backwards.
No.
So interesting. All right, I keep stretching this out. I guess I need to get to it. One big gamble. I get first pick on this one. I've struggled with this. Last year I threw out Kyle Larson winning the Indianapolis 500 and the Coke 600 in the same day. He didn't race both the races last year. So I'm gonna go with one that I teased last week. I think I teased it last week, and go on a limb, which actually goes against a lot of the stuff I've got coming up here. But my one big gamble is that Shane Van Gisbergen wins on an oval this year.
Oh.
So,
all right. So you got him in the playoffs.
I got him in the playoffs, even though I don't have him in the playoffs later. Well, I don't necessarily not have him in the playoffs. He's just not one of my guys I'm adding in the playoffs later.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, for me, I had Shane on my list.
It's so silly that I do that too, because I've sat there and bashed Shane and said he's not going to win on an oval ever.
Yeah, you've come around.
But that's why he's a big gamble, right? So
yeah. I'm going to go a little bit higher on the board than you.
Good, because I'm really interested to hear what you have.
Yeah, this was kind of my second pick, but my first pick was Shane involved. But I think you and I were kind of on the same page with Shane. I was a little bit different. I said he was going to win multiple races on road courses.
Okay. That's much more reasonable.
Yeah, it's a little too reasonable. You went off the board a little bit. I'm going to say that my big gamble is we're going to be talking about Ty Gibbs as a championship contender late into the season. I think he's going to make the top 8, and we're going to be looking at him to have a chance at making the Final Four.
Interesting.
It's got to happen at some point. Like, it's time now.
Yeah. No, it does. You're right. It is time.
We're going into year 3, and like Chase Elliott and William Byron before him, like the talent is too good.
Yeah.
To not continue to win races.
Well,
so
I'm added a talented guy to that team too, who runs the risk of making him look silly. So
yeah, I am banking that Ty Gibbs. We've seen how good he is, and I'm just banking that talent's going to break through, and it's got to be now. So yeah, I don't want to go as far as saying I think he's going to make the championship 4. It's so difficult, but I think we're going to be talking about him. I think he's going to win multiple races, and I think he's going to be hovering around.
Nice. I like that one.
Yep.
Good one.
Hopefully that's a gamble. I hope that qualifies.
No, it definitely does. I think it definitely qualifies.
How deep in the field can I go?
I like that one better than mine. So, all right. So this one has an asterisk on it as well, because I made it a little tougher this year, or retirements and changes have made it a little bit tougher, because it's to pick 2 drivers that made the playoffs last year who won't make it in 2024. The caveat is that you can't pick Martin Truex Jr. and you can't pick Harrison Burton, both of which will not be in the playoffs this year. So we're picking 2 additional. So we're going to say 4 drivers.
4 drivers are out. Yeah,
out from
4
last
spots
year.
Up for grabs.
Yes. So James, you get first pick. Who are your 2 drivers that made the playoffs last year who will not make them this year?
Yeah.
I still think this is pretty easy in my opinion.
Yeah, I've got 2 names that stick right out. Daniel Suarez, I'm going to take him out.
Okay.
There's just too much talent. I don't even think he's going to be the 3rd best driver on his own team. So
until he goes and wins at Mexico City.
Yeah, I know.
But that's the thing, though, is he has to not only beat the other 39 drivers, but he's got to beat Shane Van Gisbergen on a road course too. So.
Yep. Now, the other one that I think is easy is I'm going to say Austin Cindric.
Yeah, you got the same 2 as me.
Yeah. Now, if I had to, I'm just going to put this. I'll put this on record. I'm concerned about Alex Bowman.
Yeah.
About where he's at right now. And I was going to put him on there.
But he is always going to come through at the last minute.
Well, and if we're taking 4 drivers out of the playoffs, if you think about it that way, like Alex Bowman's got to make it. It's too far out for him. So those 2 I think are the easy 2 to take out.
Yep, I'm with you.
And watch one of them win the Daytona 500. Like Austin Cindric's done that. Exactly. So I could be wrong. I could be wrong right away.
Exactly. Daniel Suarez is pretty good on super speedways as well.
Yes, he is. Yeah.
Yep, those are my 2 picks too. So we'll jump on to the next one. Pick 2 new playoff drivers. I get first pick on this one, James, and I am going to go with, new as in new this year, as he didn't make it last year.
Yeah, weren't in last year.
Not new in general. I'm going to go with Bubba Wallace for pick number 1.
Yep.
Which goes against your 2311 struggles. And I'm going to go out on a limb and go Carson Hocevar as my second one.
Yeah, you left a guy on there I thought you were for sure going to take.
Well, I wanted to take these. These were the ones I wanted to go with. So.
All right. Well,
I don't want to make it too easy.
I'll take the Watermelon Man.
Yeah, he was on my list. He definitely was. I do think he makes. I think it's a travesty if he doesn't make it this year.
Yeah. I am in limbo between Chris Buescher and Kyle Busch, and I want to give it to Chris Buescher, but Kyle Busch has gone too long without winning a race. He is winning a race this year. There's no way he does not win a race. He's got to. So Kyle Busch has to come into the playoffs. He might win a race way down the road in the playoffs, but he is going to win a race.
Yeah.
There is no way Kyle Busch does not go 2 seasons without winning races. That's just not going to happen. So I got to put him in.
Yeah. Good one. I like that.
Can't believe I picked Ross Chastain and you didn't.
I know, that's pretty funny. It's pretty funny. Like I said, he was on my list, but I wanted to
be the Super Bowl commercials.
I wanted to get Hocevar in there. All right. So next one, who will be the first driver to win their first race this season? And
this is always tough.
Just a note, I believe the last 2 years I've picked Ty Gibbs And I know you
Yeah.
picked Ty Gibbs last year.
Yeah.
So who's your pick this year, James?
Well, I
First
kinda
driver to
gave it
win their
away with-
first
yeah.
race this season.
I kind of gave it away. The fun part about this is you can't pick Shane Van Gisbergen.
That's
has
true.
a win.
Yeah.
He has a win. Man. Just for fun, I already gave Ty Gibbs his flowers.
Okay.
I feel like he is going to win a race. Just for fun though, funsies. Carson Hocevar, I think would be a fun to get his first win. So I'll take Carson Hocevar in this category.
Well, I took Carson Hocevar as well because I am not picking Ty Gibbs for the third year in a row.
Yeah.
Too many drivers have gotten their first win since Ty Gibbs joined the Cup Series.
Yeah.
So,
Trying to scatter my picks across the board here a little bit. So obviously we think Ty Gibbs is going to win a race, but
Yeah.
let's
Ty
take
Gibbs
Carson
has got to win a race this year. This probably will solidify he does it nice and early, and beats Carson Hocevar to it. But I feel like Carson's got to win coming this season. I think
like
it's gonna
that
happen.
you put Carson Hocevar in the playoffs. I didn't, and then said he was going to win his first race. So
Again-
I am aware.
Again,
I am
there are
aware.
two spots we didn't call for the playoffs,
Right,
so there's still
right.
more room in there.
Right.
What will be the best race of 2025? And I get first pick on this one. And James, I'm going to go with the old classic that's back in its rightful spot on the schedule. I believe I've picked it before, and I'm going to go the Coke Zero 400 at Daytona to wrap up the regular season and lead us into the playoffs. So there you go.
Nice. Well, it'd be easy to pick Kansas, right? One of the Kansases. Those have been phenomenal. Atlanta's been phenomenal recently. The best race of the season, though.
Mexico City? You're going to pick Mexico City?
No, I'm not going to pick Mexico City. I'm not going to do it. I won't do it. No, but I will. A race that I really enjoyed last year that didn't get its flowers because it didn't have the closest finish, but man, the Southern 500.
Yeah, that's funny because that was on my list.
Yeah, it's just consistently good, and it might just be a B+ race again, but it's never gonna fail you. Darlington's never gonna fail
James,
you.
there is no such thing as a B+ race at Darlington. There just isn't.
It's never bad. Yeah, it's never bad. It's never bad.
And the only way to make Darlington better, the only way to make it more exciting, is to be there versus watch it on TV.
Yes,
because then you don't miss any of the brushes with the wall and the contact and all that,
and sparks flying all over the place.
It's a definitely a must-see race to go to.
Yes.
So I highly recommend everybody goes to the Southern 500 when you get a chance. So what'll be the worst race of 2025? James, you get the first pick on this one.
I have a couple in mind.
I hate to pick the low-hanging fruit on this one, but
I'm not going to take Chicago Street, although it's on my list.
Come on, we've had two good Chicago Street races, and you still want to pick it as the worst race?
Well, I just want it to be gone, so hopefully, I know I keep trying to manifest it. The worst race, and it's because the fans are going to throw a temper tantrum, is going to be the championship race at Phoenix.
Okay, that's a good one.
The fans are just you never are gonna make anybody happy. I learned that lesson last year. I'm like, man, nobody's ever happy with the championship race because it's in Phoenix. But I think we know that this might be the last one there for a while. So
yeah,
hopefully that sends us some relief.
Man, I don't want to take the low hanging fruit and go with Richmond, but especially with only one Richmond race on the schedule. It's only got
one date though. I think, Eric, if I could push back on you, when races only have one date, they are a little bit better. I don't know if Richmond will be the worst thing out there this year.
Yeah.
Although I guess you can say, well, there's Iowa too.
Give me Mexico City. I'm taking Mexico City.
Now I like the layout of Mexico City. I think they did the right thing for a NASCAR track.
Yeah, I think the Mexico City is like Chicago Street in its first season. It can be a terrible race and still be successful. It doesn't, not the first Chicago Street race was a terrible race, but this race doesn't have to be a banger to be a success because they're going to pack the place and the fans are going to be nuts.
Yes.
But racing, from a racing standpoint, I predict that will be the worst. Honestly, I struggle with this because really, I don't want to pick Iowa.
I don't think Iowa will be that bad.
Iowa, they didn't help it any with their pave job though that they did. I don't know.
But I think it'll be okay. I don't think Gateway's bad.
Gateway's going to be better because it's in the playoffs.
Yep.
New Hampshire's going to be better because it's in the playoffs.
New Hampshire's good.
So I don't know that you can. I mean, I'm picking a road course and probably one of the better road courses because it's unfamiliar to these guys. So I don't know. It's tough. It's really hard to look at the schedule, James, and go, this is going to be a bad race.
No, the schedule's very balanced. I like it.
I mean, would you have picked the second or the Bristol night race to be the worst race last year? But it was pretty damn close.
And if depending on when you asked me that, especially seeing what we saw in the spring, I would have said absolutely not. Because that was kind of a stinker.
I sure wouldn't have picked Kansas or Atlanta. Well, Atlanta I might have picked, but Kansas I wouldn't have picked as the best race of the year last year.
Right? Yeah, but that's the
Kansas
thing,
won, especially. Not even Kansas in the playoffs. Kansas pre-playoffs early in the season.
Yeah, I know. Well, and this car just, this car, it just does the things.
That's a good thing that we can't figure out what the worst race is going to be.
And I think Mexico City, they did the thing with the layout, and the start finish line is coming after a series of really tight corners. That's beautiful for NASCAR racing.
So I was trying to find the layout, and I could see some of it, but I know they cut off the extended section in the back. But did they put a chicane in the front straightaway too?
No, there's front straightaways.
See, when they took the chicane away for the Xfinity cars in the front stretch, I think it ruined that track. So I'm curious to see. I'm even more confident with my Mexico City pick then.
Yeah, I'd have to look at what I sent you, but I'm pretty sure I sent the layout, and I did not see a chicane.
I didn't see a chicane either. So,
but there's a long string of S's, but everything winds down to a really tight, and it's then that. What did it used to be? It wasn't a baseball stadium. Was it a soccer?
They call it the stadium.
Yeah, it runs into the stadium, which is a phenomenal venue, like a phenomenal.
I think it used to be a baseball stadium.
I think you may be right. It's one of those too. But
now the baseball stadium's on the other end of the track inside.
Yeah. So no, I think it's going to be. I think Mexico City will be okay. This car just doesn't do well on road courses. Coda's is relayed out, which I'm excited about that. That was something I had thought about, but with the new layout, I'm not so willing to toss Coda away. Coda's actually been pretty decent.
Same.
So so we'll see. Yeah, we got two F1 courses that we're shortening.
Yeah, right.
Which is okay.
Yeah,
we're okay.
Who will be our final four? God, I hate this one. This one sucks
this
every year.
This is always terrible. I know.
And I get first pick, and I have my first three, and I'm struggling with my fourth. I think I'm gonna go on a limb and pick my original choice. So okay, final four. I got Kyle Larson in because it's Kyle Larson. I know he didn't make it last year.
Put him down for me. Yeah, put him down for me too because he missed it last year. He's not missing it twice in a row.
No way.
Yep.
So we both got Kyle Larson down, and I'm putting Christopher Bell in there.
So C. Bell, he just missed it last year.
Yep.
But 2 years before that, he was in.
And then Ryan Blaney.
That's your Penske car.
Yep. And I am going to, because it's an odd year, so it's not going to be Joey Logano. I'm not putting him in there. My fourth pick, I am going to go, you're going to be surprised. I'm going to go Chase Briscoe.
Oh, wow.
Chase Briscoe is my pick. I think Chase Briscoe is going to...
Where was that in your big gamble section?
Right, I know. Chase Briscoe is going to shine at
Gonna light the world on fire, eh?
Yep, I think so.
There's something about new drivers and new teams that first year that there's like a little bit of a spark.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if Chase Briscoe qualifies, but Kyle Busch has done it twice.
Right.
And Larson did it. Obviously, he won a championship.
Yeah.
His first year with the new organization. So,
this is a big...
I love that dude.
It's a huge step up for Chase Briscoe to go from the dying Stuart Haas to Joe Gibbs Racing.
Now. Yeah.
So, yeah. The talent that we feel that Chase Briscoe has, he should excel there.
I believe he will. I believe he will do well there. Yeah. I don't know if he's championship caliber just yet, but he should be. He did say they're making him lose 15 pounds.
Yeah.
So he's trying to get in shape. It's hard when he eats nothing but dino nuggies and French fries all.
Right. He's on a Tony Stewart diet.
He really was. Yeah. He really is the reincarnation. It's pretty funny.
Hey man, he idolizes that guy.
I never thought of him as a big guy though, but apparently he just Yep.
Well, see, you talk about drivers that are bigger or taller or whatever. Briscoe's a little taller, so he's got more room to hide it than the other guys do.
Yeah, you kind of tuck it away there, don't you? Yeah.
So you got Kyle Larson. Who else you got?
Oh man, this is tough. I'm looking through the last few years. I don't like putting somebody in 3 years in a row because it just doesn't typically happen.
Right.
I am going to put William Byron in. I know I'm going to get the Homer favoritism. Yeah, that's fine. He's just too good for me to leave out just yet. But 3 years in a row, man, that's going to be really hard.
Yeah.
That's going to be really hard. You need a lot of luck to make this dang thing. And man, I feel like I'm reaching when I pick him there, but I'm not willing to kick him out just yet. I am also going to take Christopher Bell.
Okay.
I think he is the belle of the ball at Joe Gibbs Racing.
Oh,
for lack of a
that.
better term. Yeah. He's getting to race dirt again. Which he's been kicking butt. So is Larson.
Yeah, I think that is a huge factor for Christopher Bell this year. Christopher Bell's having fun again.
Yeah, he's loving life, living his dream again.
Yep.
Penske just figures out a way, man. I don't know how they do it. I really don't. I can't figure out, like, they just don't seem like they don't have speed, and all of a sudden they're winning championships. I cannot figure it out.
So which Penske guy are you going with?
Well, I'm going to go with Ryan Blaney. But again, I'm doing the thing where I'm putting a guy in for a third year in a row, and I'm not confident in that. I don't like it, but I just don't know if Joey. I know Joey's won the titles, but can you put together a start to finish regular season
against the 3-time champ?
I know it's stupid. I feel really dumb picking guys. Blaney and Byron.
Listen to me pick on you, and I did the same thing.
I know, but it's like. Joey, here's my thing with Joey. Can you just flat out dominate?
Right.
Please
don't ask him to do that.
He doesn't do that though. That's not how he operates.
No, he's not.
So I'm not and thinking about last year too. He got in, he advanced through the playoffs with a dang penalty, and I have not forgotten that.
Yeah.
I have not forgotten. But it goes to my point. You need a hell of a lot of luck to make it to this far. And that's why I'm queasy about Byron and Blaney making it all the way. But I think they're too good. Their teams are too good. They know how to do this. So somebody's going to surprise us and get in here that we're not thinking about. But by God, I will go with those guys over the field and feel pretty confident about it, even though I'm concerned about how they're going to get there.
All right. You haven't talked yourself out of it yet. So now
I'm not talking myself out of it. I'm going to stick with it.
Now you got your final four. Who's your champ? 2025 NASCAR Cup Series champion for James Cush.
Listen, I'm not picking a Penske car. I know that's the smart thing to do. I'm not picking Ryan Blaney to get it done. I feel like I'll go chalk every year with this thing. Kyle Larson's too good not to have two. Give me Kyle Larson.
All right.
I'll just take him. I'm just going to take him now. He's going to win multiple titles, and then he's going to skedaddle at some point.
Well, I like that pick. That's a great pick to pick Kyle Larson because I'm going to pick the guy who likes to show him up on dirt all the time.
I looked at that 20 car quite hardly for this pick, so if you take it and win, I'm good.
This is the year of Christopher Bell. Christopher Bell gets his first NASCAR Cup Series championship in 2025.
There you go. I'm not even going to argue with you there because I think he's going to be.
Honestly, almost every time those two do battle, who comes out on top most of the time? It always feels like it's Bell.
Even though Larson won the last time.
Well,
they both won. Well, I guess they broke even this last weekend, didn't they?
Yeah, Bell won the World of Outlaws race.
That's right. And then Larson won the Gator, whatever that was, that trophy. I saw him with the trophy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Larson just throwing haymakers at each other.
Larson led flag to flag at the best thing that could be is these two in the final and battling each other to the checkered flag.
Do you think that they are like in their helmets when there's no microphones on and they're racing each other on dirt? Do you think they're giggling? Just cackling with just cackling and happy.
I don't know.
That's what I imagine. That's what I imagine it's like.
Because you mean racing with each other?
Yeah, because they show up and they kick everybody's ass.
Yeah.
And they're
well, I mean, I think they got to enjoy that. But like, I back when they were racing the Chili Bowl before Bell stopped being able to race sprint cars, it really felt like to me like Kyle Larson freaking hated his guts because he just couldn't beat him there.
He's coming after all of his stuff.
And now Larson's got the Chili Bowl. He beat Bell at the Chili Bowl. And now it feels like it's more fun between the two and it's a good rivalry.
I just feel like
it's tough. Kyle Larson to me is just, he's not pissed at anybody.
No, that's
He's
why
just
that's
having
what I'm
freaking
saying.
fun.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like when those two are out there racing and they show up and they're kicking the best dirt drivers in the world's butts, and I just feel like he's inside his helmet just laughing to himself. Like, this is the best.
See, Larson to me is just, he's not human. He gets out of the car and all those thoughts, all those emotions that you and I would have in those situations.
Yeah, he doesn't get angry.
He doesn't have any of those.
Yeah.
Like the whole Bubba Wallace thing when Wallace tried to fight him, and it's like Larson just doesn't, his brain doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
He gets out of the car and it's all done. It's shut off, and you can ask him about it. And he's like, yeah, it was all right. Like, I mean, he just doesn't get fired up.
Yeah. He's like a robot inside the race car.
Yeah.
He just does it like inside there. He's a caged animal. And when he gets out, he's like, okay, that was good. I'm done.
Yeah. Just turns it off.
And Christopher Bell, the one thing that goes to your point, picking him, he's starting to build a disappointment resume.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's like he's got a carrot that's like a little bit stronger than anybody else's right now. Even Denny Hamlin, like Christopher Bell's like tasted it now like twice, like so close. So yeah, he's got to be. I think Byron's got a little bit of that too. Like, God dang it, I was right there again. Like, there's just those guys are just right there.
I put Bell in a different category of driver than someone like William Byron. Just that dirt discipline and the ability on dirt and asphalt gives me a different perspective on him. Like Kyle Larson. I put him in the same category as Kyle Larson. No offense to William Byron. I think William Byron is freaking amazing, but William Byron is not in the class of Kyle Larson to me.
I agree with that.
So now that being said, do I think Christopher Bell could go jump in an Indy car and compete to win the Indy 500? Probably not. Not like Larson can. So I think Larson still is a step above.
Yeah. Yeah.
Larson is a generational all-around talent that you just don't see very often.
The one thing that Byron does that I don't think anybody else in the sport does right now is when he gets hot, when he gets on a heater.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He's untouchable.
Yeah.
But his highs are high, but his lows are really low. And Bell has some of that too, where he has those low lows, but he bounces back pretty aggressively.
Right.
He doesn't get stuck like that 24 team gets stuck in a low sometimes.
Well, like Bell, when Bell misses, it's like, oh man, he almost did it. And when Byron misses, it's like, wow, he was freaking irrelevant.
Yeah, like, you don't hear about it. Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's what
off
I mean.
The face of the earth. Like you said, he's more dominant in the long run, but it's those just completely gone moments.
Byron will have these. He will have these 8-week stretches, and he'll win 4 races in 8 weeks, and he'll be competing for the wins and all the other ones. And
you're like, he's a shoe-in for the Final Four. He's gonna win the championship.
And then you're like,
this year,
why is William Byron winning 18th every week again? What is going on? Yeah, he does that. He does that. It's weird.
Yeah, 100%. That's a very good.
It's weird. Yeah, it's the weirdest thing, and he did it again last year, but they figured out a way to get through the playoff.
Yep.
It's one of the strangest things that I can't quite figure out with them.
Yeah. All right. That's our predictions for the season. Daytona 500 coming up this week. We got all kinds of on-track action. We've got practice and qualifying on Wednesday. Thursday, we got the duels. Friday, I'm assuming Friday is ARCA and trucks.
ARCA on Fox, by the way.
Oh,
interesting. Big show.
Interesting.
Yep.
And then, of course, we got trucks, Xfinity, and Cup throughout the weekend.
Did they push the trucks to FS2 or is that just FS1?
I don't know. I didn't look. I haven't looked at that.
I
haven't looked at the TV schedule. I'm literally just pulling all this out of my butt based on past experience. I could be wrong. Not looking at anything
you've
right
got
now
it. I was looking at the schedule. I'm looking at the Cup schedule right now. You nailed everything. So.
They've moved the ARCA race around on us over the years, but now that the Clash is elsewhere, the ARCA race is usually on Friday before the trucks. So
yeah.
So I mean, there's not really a whole heck of a lot to talk about. There's not a lot of news going into this. Any expectations for the Daytona 500 before we talk our picks for the weekend, James?
It is going to be a spectacle as always.
Yeah.
And it's I mean, there's nothing quite like we're going to have a snowstorm hit us here in a couple days.
Yep.
And we're going to be locked in our houses again, and it's just the age-old tradition. It is cold outside here in Michigan, and boy, does it look nice down there in Florida.
Well,
and I love it. I love every bit of it until it rains.
It looks mostly nice. I mean, Thursday is a high 81, but it also has a 40% chance of rain. And then Sunday is a high of 76 and a 40% chance of rain. So,
Oh my God.
It is what it is. But hopefully the president doesn't hold us up on the start too much, and we can get things rolling and beat the rain on Sunday. No rain delays this year, guys. Let's just beat the weather this year for NASCAR.
Yes.
But with that, we get to make our picks for the Daytona 500. James, I have you down first with the first pick for who
First pick of the year.
And just for the record, just for everybody listening, because I know nobody cares, but we are not keeping score this year again, as we're just making our picks each week. So, James,
We just pick for fun.
who is your Daytona 500 pick?
Oh man. Oof. This guy has gotten close a couple of times, and I really want one of the legacy guys, like not the legacy racing team.
Right.
I want an all-time great driver to get one of these,
Mhm.
and I'm gonna say that this is the year for Brad Keselowski.
I knew that's where you're
gotta
going.
happen. And my heart also says Kyle Busch. I would like for that to happen. But yeah, and then I also took a look at Bubba Wallace just because I'm like, yeah, Bubba likes this race too. But I want Brad to win. I'm gonna go with my Daytona. I always go with my heart. Brad, I want to see Brad get one.
Well, speaking of going with heart, I am going to be the Earnhardt fan, and I'm going to pick this guy until he finally does it. He's led at lap 200, but he's now won it. Kyle Busch is my pick for this year. Let's turn things around at Daytona and kick the season off right. Although, I mean, I kind of wouldn't mind seeing him struggle and get out of RCR this year, but a win at the beginning of the season probably won't do a lot to help that. But man, love to see
Ryan
him
Newman.
win that 500.
Ryan Newman won it and then left for Stuart Haas.
That's true.
The same, yeah. So yeah, it happens.
That's true.
It happens.
I don't have a secondary pick, but I'm with you on Brad. I'd love to see Brad win it. Bubba be a good winner. Honestly, let's have somebody win it who hasn't won it before. That would be fun.
Yeah. I don't. We've had a few too many guys win it who are Cinderellas, I guess. Ricky Stenhouse, Michael McDowell. Listen, it's great when it happens every so often. When it gets to be too frequent, I don't like that. I would rather see like the big dogs duke this thing out. I don't like a Cinderella story. Don't get me wrong, please, but I would rather have it come down to like I want Hamlin involved. I want those guys. I want those guys in this.
Courtesy of NASCAR.com, active Cup Series drivers with Daytona 500 wins. Jimmy Johnson has 2. Yes, he's still an active driver because he's racing this year.
He is.
In theory, as long as he makes the field. Joey Logano has a Daytona 500 win.
Yep.
Austin Dillon has a Daytona 500 win. Denny Hamlin is a 3-time Daytona 500 winner.
Dennis. Yep.
Michael McDowell has a Daytona 500 win. Austin Cindric has a Daytona 500 win. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. has a Daytona 500 win. And our most recent Daytona 500 winner, William Byron, is also on the list. Those are your active drivers with the Daytona 500 victory.
Perfect.
There you go.
Eric, we got to talk quickly about who's going to make this dang thing.
Yeah.
Jimmy's not locked in. We also are going to be keeping an eye on Justin Allgaier because it's his Dale Jr.'s car.
Yeah.
So we got to keep an eye on Justin
If
Allgaier.
he doesn't make the field, the fans are going to tear that place down.
Oh my God. Who else? Oh, Martin Truex Jr. not locked in. He's obviously racing for Tricon Garage, and Cole Pearn back on the box in the 56 car. We got the Sauce, Anthony Alfredo. Chandler Smith also trying to make the field. Elio Castroneves is locked in no matter what. Thank you to that rule. Corey LaJoy going to try to make the field. We got a lot of guys who are fighting for spots here. And I believe those are the big ones of note. Everybody else is pretty much locked in.
Did you... So I have I list here. All right. There's 9. Okay. There's 9 non-chartered entries.
Okay. Throw at me.
We got, you mentioned Corey LaJoy for Rick Ware.
Yep.
Justin Allgaier, you mentioned JJ Yaley has the NY Racing team, number 44. You mentioned Truex, Anthony Alfredo. You mentioned Anthony Alfredo with Beard Motorsports. Good car, usually.
That's a good car, yep.
Chandler Smith, Garage 66, MBM Motorsports. BJ McLeod for Live Fast. Jimmy and Elio. Those are your non-chartered.
I only missed JJ
I think so.
and BJ. Yeah, JJ and BJ. There you go.
Yep, there you go. Yeah, gonna be interesting. Maybe the most interesting duels we've seen in a while. Would it not be a bummer if it freaking rained out or something and we
need Jimmy to make the field.
Yeah, Jimmy needs to make it.
Jimmy and Martin, please.
Yes.
I don't ask for a lot. Jimmy and Martin.
You know what? It is more important to me that Martin Truex Jr. makes it than Jimmy Johnson.
I know, but I just don't want Jimmy Johnson to miss a field.
No, I know. I'm with you.
It just seems wrong. It just seems wrong.
100%
I know what he is. I know what he is now.
Corey LaJoie, you're not pushing for Corey?
I don't care about that. I saw a really great tweet today. Not to get well.
We can go on the weeds with Corey LaJoie. We're only an hour and 8 minutes in. James,
I saw a tweet. I saw a tweet today that the president is asking to stop minting pennies.
Yeah.
And somebody said, maybe tell Corey LaJoie.
That's a good one.
That's a clever tweet. That's clever.
Yeah. It's tough because like we've had the discussion on here so many times that Corey LaJoie sees himself in a different category than what the fans see him in. And I get it. So like in preparation for the race at Bowman Gray for the Clash, I went back and watched the first Hall of Fame 150 for the K&N series at Bowman Gray, and Corey LaJoie outdueled Chase Elliott. He outdueled Kyle Larson. He outdueled Bubba Wallace, and he won that race. And like, so he had the ability to beat those guys that are now making him look silly in the Cup Series. But man, just whether it's opportunity or skill, he has not earned the right to carry himself the way he carries himself. The whole, I want to be there on Sunday, not race for 5 fans on Friday or whatever he said. That
he
was
said, a little disrespectful.
He claimed was taken out of context, but come on, Corey. Like, I mean, that was just a slam at the two. That was you know what? Forget that. That wasn't a slam at the Truck Series. That wasn't a slam at the fans in those series. That was a slam at John Hunter Nemechek. That was a slam at these guys. That's a slam at Harrison Burton. That's a slam at these guys that go back to try and pick up their career. Hell, that's a slam at Mark Martin, for God's sakes.
Yeah. Oh, I know. I know.
Like, Jesus, dude. Like, you
Carl
don't have
Edwards built
the
a Hall
right.
of Fame, built the base of a Hall of Fame career, winning a championship down there.
Yeah.
Man, oh man.
Just that sort of stuff that's the stuff I don't like about Corey LaJoie. And I get he sticks a microphone in his face and he's willing to talk, but man, just know your role.
Settle down, dude. Settle down.
Yeah.
That's all.
You want to hit a fantasy league plug before we head on out here, James?
Yep. So the Super Speedway at NASCAR.com. That's where our fantasy league can be found. I will do my due diligence, and tomorrow I will post the league again on our Facebook page to those who didn't see it. But it's on there now. Please go sign up if you're a newer listener, and if you've been with the league for a few years, you don't have to worry. But tomorrow, the 11th, is the day where you can start getting your roster ready for the Daytona 500. So if you're listening to this in the next couple of days as we approach the 500, please make sure you set your roster. I'll keep an eye on the league and see who's joined and who's competing through the next couple of weeks. And hopefully it's been growing the last few years, but we'll see how it goes. And I'll make sure to get everything out there for everybody.
There you go. Hopefully y'all join us. I hate it, so you might as well come and
it's a labor of love,
make it a little bit more fun by making me do worse. You're gonna beat me. That's pretty much a guarantee.
Oh yeah, it's the only storyline that we'll have to figure out this year is who am I finishing second to.
Yeah, and how many races I forget to make my picks for.
Oh, it's so frustrating.
Can't believe it's that time again, James. Can't believe it.
Drives me flipping crazy every year. I hate it, and I do it anyway. I do it for you guys, the listeners.
Right. Yeah, same here. It's not for me.
Labor
that's
of
for
love.
sure.
Like I said, it's a labor of love.
James, where can people hit you up on social media during the week?
I'm going to stick to my Instagram, James Cush on Instagram.
There you go.
I think I might be leaving the Twitter space.
Yeah.
I think it might be time. Yeah.
I don't buy it.
It's been pretty gross lately. I'm tired.
See, you just need to stay in the NASCAR space, and that's it. That's all I do.
Well, you say that, and then there's these spotters. And then they get in my algorithm, and then I can't.
There's a couple certain spotters that have less of a platform this year that could use even less of one. So I'll just say that. I know I'm probably blocked. whatever. It is what it is.
And see, like I log into Twitter as I'm watching the show and I'm watching a couple of things. And then I see a picture of Ernie Irvin's Kroger #2 car and I fall in love with the platform all over again.
There
So
you go. Somebody tweeted the other day a reply to Brett Griffin and said that they need to give Brett Griffin and Joel Edmonds a show. And I'm like, oh my God, tell me my worst nightmare. I love Door Bumper Clear. I loved the show. And I like Brett, but when Joel Edmonds was on the show and I was listening in my car on my way home, there were multiple times that I had to fight not to steer myself right into the ditch because I was so irritated listening to that show. So
I saw a clip from Dennis today that said, and Actions Detrimental does a good, I mean, listen, that pod does what it does. But he said, when he said today that Dale Sr. and Dale Jr. couldn't compete on super speedways with today's car, I about had it. That was about the end for me. He said
Dale Sr. and Dale Jr.?
Yep.
Junior,
I was fuming.
Junior hasn't fired him yet?
I was fuming when he said that.
My God.
And I know and that's why he says it.
I know.
He says that crap to get people like me angry. And I'm not gonna indulge in it. I'm not gonna go on the Twitter space and yell at him. I'm not gonna do it anymore. I'm not doing that anymore. But boy, was I mad. Oh, you're telling. Oh, I don't even want to get into it.
Well,
I'm about ready to lose it again.
On that note, if you like listening to Dale Jr. and Amy, they've got a podcast now. Bless Your Heart, which I think is great.
Yeah,
I like the name, but yeah. Anyway, you can find me on Twitter still or on X at TSuperspeedway. I pop in there from time to time. So the podcast is on Facebook still. We'll always be hanging with Zuck, I guess. Facebook.com/TheSuperspeedway. Our website is thesuperspeedway.com. You can find the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Amazon Music, Audible, and iHeartRadio. Wherever you found us this week, please subscribe and continue to listen for new episodes each and every week, all season long. We will be here to break down the previous week's race and preview the upcoming week. NASCAR season is underway this weekend. We head to Daytona International Speedway. It's Speed Week end, I guess. At Daytona, we'll be back next week to break it all down, and especially the Daytona 500. I'll get it out eventually. Until then, everybody, let's go racing.